Hi guys, my name is Chelsea and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we're doing a try a chapter tag. So I redid all of my shelves in December, and while I was doing that, I obviously picked some books out to unhaul. The thing is I have some books that I want to read, but they've been on my shelves for so long that I realistically don't see myself reading them. But I still have that want it. So I tried to pick out the top 5 books, but I actually have 6 here. I picked out the top 6 books that I want to try, I guess, the first chapter of to see whether or not I actually want to unhaul it. So I don't even fully remember what all of these are. Some of them are actually very, very popular books, and so I'm a little bit, not necessarily nervous, but it's been so freaking long since they were popular, and I've heard good and bad things about some of them that I just don't quite know whether or not I really want to read them any longer. But I'll show you guys the titles I have, and then we're going to do this try a chapter tag sort of like vlog style for the next couple days probably, just because I don't know if I'll necessarily be able to actually try the first chapter of all 6 of these books and take care of my son. So the first one we have here is Take the Fall by Emily Hainsworth. This is one of those ones that I've had for years and I don't remember what it's about. And every single time I do a book unhaul, I read the summary and I'm like, oh my gosh, that sounds so good. But then I never pick it up and I forget what it's about. So, Who Killed Gretchen Meyer? See, again, as soon as I start to read it, I know, like, I want to read it, but again, am I realistically gonna do it? That's the question. Fear grips the residents of Hidden Falls the night Sonia Feldman and her best friend Gretchen Meyer were attacked in the woods. Sonia was lucky to escape with her life, but Gretchen's body is discovered at the bottom of a waterfall. Beautiful, popular, and seemingly untouchable, Gretchen can't be gone. Even as Sonia struggles with guilt and confusion over having survived, the whole town is looking to her for information. Could she have seen something that will lead the police to the killer? So this feels like obviously a YA thriller type of thing, and again, I don't know why I haven't picked it up, but it's been on here so long, and every single time I do a book unhaul, I forget what it's about. So this is the first book for the try a chapter tag. I want to see if it actually holds my attention, and if it does, I might keep it. Then we have Falls the Shadow by Stephanie Gaither, another title with the word falls in it, so if Books and Lala was actually doing a buzzwordathon on the word falls, I'd be set. This is another one that, again, I've had for years, and I forget what it's about. I love the, like, duality of the faces on the cover, and I'm pretty sure, actually, this one is about, yeah, like a replacement. So when Kate Benson was a kid, her sister died. 2 hours after the funeral, Kate's family picked up Violet's replacement, and it was like nothing had happened. Because Kate's parents are among those who decided to give their children a sort of immortality by cloning them at birth, which means this new Violet has the same smile, the same laugh, the same perfect face. Thanks to advancements in mind-uploading technology, she even has all the same memories as the girl she replaced. It's more sci-fi. We have a replacement clone of this girl, and it looks like her sister is probably the main character. And again, it sounds super interesting, but I always forget about it on my shelves. So we're gonna give it a chance and we'll see. Now we're gonna get into some of the more popular books. We have Replica by Lauren Oliver. I'm not too sure about Lauren Oliver. This sounded like a very intriguing concept when I first picked this book up, but I read Delirium and I think the sequel to that one, and I was okay with it. I read one other Lauren Oliver, I think it was Rooms, the adult one that she wrote, and again, didn't quite like it very much, so I'm just not too sure if she's an author that I really enjoy. I don't know if I said, but we have Replica by Lauren Oliver. So this one is 2 stories that I think revolve sort of in the same place, but it has one girl on the front, one girl on the back. So I feel like with this one I might have to try a chapter from each side. I absolutely love the way that they did the cover and everything too, because it comes off and it's just, you know, the butterfly. You know what I'm doing. Another reason I haven't really picked this one up at all recently is the sequel, which I don't know anything about this one, but it didn't have the same like cool cover in the hardcover, so like I didn't really want to purchase it either. So I have one here, and I don't know if I'm ever gonna get to the sequel, even if I do read this book, so we'll see. But again, I think I'm gonna have to do both sides of the story. Then we have The Diviners by Libba Bray. So I don't think I've ever personally read a Libba Bray, and this one, again, I've been putting it off because the covers kept changing, but also it's really, really thick, and I know it's not exactly, like it is a historical fantasy, I think, but I don't do very well, what I've realized since purchasing this, with historical settings. It really depends on how it is written. So I've been putting it off because of that, but I do believe if I like the first chapter, I probably would like this series. But it really, really depends on how it's written and how the setting is portrayed. And then we have Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. I have never, again, read anything by Leigh Bardugo. This has been on my shelves for forever. I do know, according to a lot of people that read this series, or the Grisha-verse, like all the books from the Grisha-verse, that this series is not the most well-written of her books, probably because it was one of the first ones. But again, I've had it on my shelves for forever, and I just don't know if it's something that I'm actually going to read. I've also been hit or miss with certain fantasies lately, so we'll have to see about this one as well. And then the last one we have here is A World Without You by Beth Revis. This is one that I got in some sort of book box forever ago. It even has the, I don't know if you guys can see it. Come on. Okay, there we go. Annotation post-its in here that like she wrote for the box. I think they photocopied them onto post-its and put them in. So like it has extra stuff from her in it. This is one where we have a guy who thinks he can travel through time, and I believe after his girlfriend or a friend's death, he thinks that he can go back and bring her back. So this one has a big question of, can he actually travel through time? And so I've been on the fence about this one, but this is the last one I want to at least attempt, and we'll see which ones I actually want to keep or give away. Okay, so the first book that we decided to try the chapter of is Shadow and Bone. I read the first, I guess, prologue, and then the first chapter. So the prologue was like only 4 pages, which is why I then proceeded to chapter 1. Chapter 1, however, I think was like 24 or 26 pages, which was a little bit too long. And yeah, I have come to the conclusion that this is really just not for me. I'm not interested anymore. This is just one of those ones that I picked up what feels like forever ago. If I do decide I want to read it eventually, that might happen, but I actually like the other covers better as well, since those ones came out as new covers 1 to 2 years ago. But yeah, it's not really my thing. I think this is the series that they're doing the TV show of, so if they do that and it comes out, I might watch it as like a TV show, but I don't think I'm ever gonna pick these up. So this is gonna go in the Unhaul. Okay, so I read the prologue, I guess I should say, of Falls the Shadow by Stephanie Gaither. I would have read the prologue and the first chapter like I did with the first book. However, the prologue actually went to page 10 already, and I want to keep reading. So even though this is one of those ones that I like have on the shelf a lot and I forget that I have it, I sort of think I'm gonna keep it. It seems very interesting, and I'm pretty sure there's some sort of societal like message in here. Basically the first chapter just details how Kate is when they pick up her sister's replacement. I believe she's 12 in the prologue, and her sister had died from an illness. They are actually coming like straight from the funeral to the building where they house all the clones that people have decided if they wanted, and her sister comes out like nothing ever happened, has all the memories and everything. However, it does seem like the sister knows she's a clone, because she basically is telling Kate, like, you don't have to tell me stuff, I know. So it's, I don't know, it's very intriguing, and it seems like it would probably be a fast read. So yeah, I think I'm gonna keep it. I might not get to it this month since I have so many other books to read, but I do think I'm gonna end up keeping this one. So I read the first chapter of A World Without You, which actually is the first chapter, not a prologue, and I just wanted to not be reading it the entire time I was reading it. I don't know if I just got this one in my head, as I am not really sure I want to read it, but I've had this for years and I've never really wanted to pick it up. This is definitely one of the ones, like I was talking about at the beginning, that like I want to read it, but I don't think I ever am going to, so I think we are putting this in the Unhaul. Okay, so I have officially read the first chapter of each side of Replica, and I am very, very torn on this one, because the first chapter of Lyra was actually very intriguing and I sort of want to know more. She is apparently the one that is number 24. She's in some sort of... It makes me think of a mental hospital, only because of the fact that I'm currently also reading Girl in Pieces in general, and that had very similar tones to like how Lyra was talking and nicknaming the people that work there. I don't think it's exactly the same, obviously, but they have a current escapee, which they're pretty sure is from the boys section, and it was just very interesting because all of the people that are in her ward or whatever have picked their own names because they weren't given any when they were born. I don't even know if they were born. That's the thing. So it's very, very interesting. However, Gemma's side is horribly dull. At least from the first chapter. It reminds me of a very typical YA contemporary from like years ago, and it does not hook me. Like, I was never a big fan of contemporaries, especially like older ones. I've been getting into them more. It really just depends on the contemporary. And so if I was just judging it based on Gemma's, I would completely unhaul this book. If I was judging it based just on Lyra's, I would keep it and want to read it. So I am completely torn on this one. So if you guys have an opinion either way, let me know, because as of right now, they're so completely different, at least based on the first chapter. Like, I would completely read Lyra's story, but I think I would probably skip Gemma's. And I guess I could technically do that, but that's not really the point of the book. Like, that would only be like half of the book read at once. I couldn't really judge it fully, so I don't know. I'm really, really torn about this one. Okay, so for Take the Fall, I actually did read again the prologue and the first chapter, because the prologue was only like 4 pages, I want to say, and then the first chapter took it up to like page 10 or 12, so it wasn't too much. Truthfully, after the prologue, I actually would want to read this. It jumped right in to the action of our main character running away from someone. We don't really know what happened because it's told sort of like in her point of view. She doesn't fully remember, and then at the end of the prologue we hear that her best friend is missing, and then a few hours later she has been found dead. The first chapter takes place, I want to say, within the next day or two after that, and it just follows our main character so far trying to figure out what happened. The deceased best friend, her ex-boyfriend, was brought in for questioning, but it sounds like he's probably not the one that did it because he has an alibi. That's all we have so far, but it does seem very exciting. Like, it took you into the action right away, so I think I'm gonna be keeping this one as well. And then we have finished the first chapter of The Diviners. So this one, I know I had some reservations against at the beginning because I am very picky with my sort of, I guess, historical-ish type books. However, even though there were certain dialogue options and writing things that happened that were a little bit old-fashioned that I wouldn't necessarily like, there was plenty in here that I did like. I mean, the opening chapter has a Ouija board and like the spirits, and I'm very, very curious about this. My only question after that actually would be, do I keep this one? Because if I'm going to read the series and enjoy it, I'm probably going to want to own it, and I'll probably want it in the newer covers that actually match. So I guess even though I am interested in this and I'll keep it on like my TBR on Goodreads, I guess, I think I might still get rid of this cover. And it is a long book, like I'm not going to get to it anytime soon. And then when I am ready to pick it up, I think I'm just going to have to get the new covers because I can't stand the fact that they don't match. I never obviously picked this up in hardcover when this first one came out, but that was the best cover of the entire series, and it's very sad that they didn't keep those. But I don't mind the newer covers too much, and I'm not going to want to have mismatched covers. So yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. I think I'm going to get rid of that one as well, so you guys will see that in the book unhaul that I have coming up, I think the next video after this one. And I'm just going to be keeping the 2 books with the word fall in it. But yeah, so I'm going to be keeping Fall's the Shadow and Take the Fall. And I'm very excited about those. Again, I don't know when exactly I'm going to be reading them, but they had basically action and they intrigued me right from the get-go. And so yeah, I want to keep those. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up to let me know. I might try and do this more frequently throughout the year with other books that I get to the point where I'm not too sure if I'm actually going to read them or not. But I did have fun doing this. If you'd like to subscribe to this channel, I do have videos up Mondays and Thursdays, so I will see you then. Bye!